Hello, Internet. My name is Peter Riley, and I'd like to discuss some of my inventions. A while ago, I had to do a job on my lawn tractor. I needed to get in to a tight place to remove a pulley held in place by a square-headed set screw. Couldn't use a regular wrench, needed a socket, so I ordered this set with 8-point sockets. The job got done okay, sockets worked fine, but storing the sockets afterwards got me thinking. Keeping them in a plastic bag is not a very convenient way of storing your sockets, so I wanted to have something better. Some decades ago, when I left home and had to maintain my old crummy car without using my father's tools, I bought this set from Sears. Brand new, and I've had it with me ever since. Came with a nice set of sockets, socket wrenches. Has a nice rack here to hold. These are the 1/2-inch sockets. Another rack over here for 3/8-inch sockets. I think I added this little section here for the 1/4-inch sockets. Served me well over the years. When I needed metric sockets, I bought this set from Sears. Comes in a nice little tray with a little handle and cover over it so they don't come out when you tip it over. Got the 1/2-inch sockets, 3/8-inch sockets. That's really nice. That's the way they used to sell them back then. I inherited this holder from my father. These are also metric sockets. My father made this holder for the sockets with the same sort of bracket that holds them in place. Did a nice job. Trying to copy the Sears. Had a set of 3/8-inch sockets. He made this for the deep reach 1/4-inch sockets. A little wire bracket over it. Does the same thing. They don't make them like that. My father didn't make any more. Sears also sells this type of arrangement for keeping your sockets. Just a metal strip with these spring clips on them. They stick on like that. They're not great. You can't just pick out a socket single-handed. They don't stand upright like that. If you toss them in the bottom of your toolbox, the sockets just get knocked loose. If you put larger, like deep reach sockets, they almost fall off on their own when they tip over. They work, don't really like them. So trying to figure out a better way, this is what I came up with. I made these blocks out of wood. The sockets just drop into these holes like that. Each hole is its own diameter. Sockets fit really tight. When you want to put them away, you can just flip the lid over, held in place by springs. Only covers half the socket, so you can still see the size and the sockets don't fall out. I also engraved the size on the front here, 8-point socket. So this is my 8-point socket set. Also engraved my name in it. Made a set for my 8-point sockets. Made a set for my hex head sockets. They don't fall out. Made a set for my metric long reach sockets. Like that. Made a set for my torque sockets, like that. They don't fall out, just has a spring that closes it. I did the design of my socket holder using FreeCAD. which is a computer-aided design program that is free to download. It is open source. You can run it on Windows, you can run it on Linux, or on Apple computers. It's really great. And this is what I came up with for the design. I have cut a block of a rectangular shape. Each socket hole is its own diameter. I put engraving on the side here. I put my signature on this side. Now ready to cut. This is running the G code from the FreeCAD output. I'm using my vacuum cleaner to suck up the sawdust generated by the tool. I use a vacuum cleaner rather than compressed air. I don't see how machinists or woodworkers use compressed air. It just blows the chips all over the place. Doesn't get rid of them. They go behind the machine or wedge themselves in some hidden spot that you got to deal with later. Vacuum cleaner sucks most of them up, disposes of them, and puts them away. So I always use a vacuum cleaner and never compressed air. So I'm running the spiral path down. That was one of the choices in FreeCAD. The tool is retracting and going to go up to get ready to drill the second hole, but I'm going to stop it here to check the hole dimension by just trying one of the sockets in. So fit it in here. Looks good. Now ready to go and cut the remaining holes. On the faces that will be engraved, I need to have them flatter than just cutting the wood with a table saw and sanding it on a belt sander. So I use a cut mill to just skim across the surface, and that will make it flat and parallel to the bottom surface, so that when I put it in the vise with the standoffs, it will produce a repeatable flat surface on the top. So initially forgot to use my vacuum cleaner, stopped it, brought my vacuum cleaner up. It doesn't work so well with a face mill, but it does pick up maybe 50% of the wood chips, whereas with the end mill cutting the holes, maybe it does 90-95%. Time to change out the 1/2-inch tool that I use for the hole and put in the 1/16 ball mill that I'll be using for the engraving. So just tightening it up, and then TB30 holder, and bring in the piece of wood and put up the side that I will be doing the engraving on. Just set it in on my parallels. Make sure my parallels are tight in the vise. Zero the tool holder, and we'll start the code, the G code, and off and running. The ball mill is a much better tool for cutting into wood than an engraving bit, because my Bridgeport mill can only go up to about 2,000 RPM here. So I'm just going to let it cut with a ball mill and not try to use an engraving tool. Vacuum the last few, the the last sawdust from the last cut. Feels good. Yeah, I think I like it. I think we're done here. I have milled out the text that I want to engrave, specifically the size of the sockets, and I clear lacquered the wood before I did the engraving. On the engraving that I want to fill in with paint, I'm using just regular old latex household paint. This is lacquer, which is solvent-based, and also to help release the paint. I'm not being terribly careful on over filling the grooves, and to help release the paint, I've put a coat of butcher's wax over the entire surface. Before I did the milling cuts through the clear lacquer, cuts through the wax, and leaves the bare wood, and the paint, the latex will stick very well to the bare wood. And then when the latex dries, it's relatively easy to just pick off the paint that overflows the engraving and clean up the brush. Done for today. Here is the job completed. My hex bits, my Torx bits, my metric long reach sockets, and my 8-point sockets, all held in nice racks. Don't have to worry about them falling all over the place again.